Welcome, everybody, to the October 26th regular meeting of the Jackson Board of Selectmen. It's 4 o'clock, so we'll go ahead and get started. And our first order of business is to thank the old library for the chairs that they've loaned us here. They bought these for a function. They've been sitting in storage for a while, and somebody over there thought they would look better on loan to us over here for a while, and we appreciate it. They are nice chairs, and we're happy to have them.
They comfy, Joyce? Are they comfy?
Very.
They need approval.
Nice cushiony seats. They fold up. They're functional and they're attractive. Yeah. So thank you to the old library committee for loaning those out to us. Always on agenda item number 1, our first order of business is to approve and or amend minutes of past meetings. So first up is our meeting from the September 14th Board of Selectmen meeting. And that is a meeting that John, you, and I were at. And so we tabled these from last time because we needed both of us here. So I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes as written from our September 14th public meeting.
So moved.
And I'll second that. Have you had a chance to look through these? I don't know if it's been a while, but...
I have. I don't...
Okay, great.
If there's anything I remember.
Very good. I saw nothing either, so all those in favor of approving the minutes from the September 14th meeting signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Very good. And then next up is the meeting that was right after that, the public meeting on September 28th, and that also did not have a quorum at our last meeting.
Oh, for voting.
To approve. That was John, you, and Dick were the ones present at that meeting, so I'll entertain a motion from one of you to approve the minutes as written.
I'll make that motion.
And I'll second.
Very good. Either one of you have anything that you felt needed to be added to the minutes to make them accurate? All right. All those in favor of approving the minutes from the September 28th meeting signify by saying aye.
Aye, aye.
Good. And then...
Jen?
Good. Thank you. And then this was also the non-public session from the same date. And John, if I can have you initial those. Those were sealed, and Dick initialed those last time. So that kind of gets us up to date here a little bit, I think, on things. And then our last meeting was on October 12th, and that was just you and I, Richard. So entertain a motion to approve the minutes from the October 12th meeting as written.
I'll make that motion.
And I'll second it. Have you had a chance to scan through these? See any omissions, anything glaring you think should be added or taken out? Me neither. All those in favor of approving the minutes from October 12th signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Very good. Thank you. And the action item update from last time. How have we done with the conversation between Kevin and Pat about that cemetery shed? I think that neither one of them felt they had utility for their needs.
Correct. I did get comment from someone in town that they thought it was a great idea, so it kind of it's on hold right now. I haven't had a chance to talk to Kathleen at the chamber.
A great idea for...
Oh, bringing the shed over there, having the kids use that, making it a public restroom, that whole conversation.
Bringing it over where?
From the cemetery to the ball field.
Use it at the ball field for the storage of
for storage.
Athletic equipment.
Storage.
Okay. I thought we had ruled that out.
I think what I think you said last time was if someone wanted to pursue it, it was up to them to do so.
And so who's pursued it to the point where they've been able to confirm that things can be secure and padlocked, and it would be, it's big enough for the equipment.
I really haven't done anything further at this point on it, so
Okay.
it's
All right.
I can make sure I do it for next
Yeah.
week.
Well, I remember saying, sometimes these things, they look good on paper, but the devil's in the details.
Yeah,
So
I have
maybe
not.
you and I, or
Sure.
anybody on the
Yep.
board, we can have a conversation between now and the next meeting. And then community night regarding Valley Cross Road Bridge. The contract with the engineers regarding the Valley Cross Road Bridge has not yet been approved by the DRA, and that needs to be approved and signed first before we can schedule a community night, is where we're at with that, right?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. Dick, John, did we miss anything on action items? Because that's all we had on our list.
I don't think so.
Nothing comes to mind
Well,
for you?
we do have, you guys were going to review the updated highway standard operating guidelines and approve that if you agree with the changes, which are minimal. It's basically, it was something that was done, there were changes, it happened a long time ago, and finished it off, and it was changing words like policy to guidelines and combining the two documents into one, reformatting. Pat's reviewed it, he likes it,
Okay,
and it just needed approval from you guys.
all right. Have you guys had an opportunity to look at those?
I have.
Okay, and how do you feel about it?
I've just had some minor editing of words, but nothing in content at all.
Yeah. Well, I didn't go through and actually wordsmith it. I saw nothing that jumped out at me.
Sort it out.
It looks pretty comprehensive.
All right. Well, if you've got some minor edits that don't take away any of the meaning, feel free to pass it along.
It's just rearranging words or
Yep.
using another word.
Okay. Excellent. Does that require approval from the board?
Not the
or-
changes, just the general update would need approval.
Okay. So I'll entertain a motion to approve the update of the highway standard operating guidelines.
I make that motion.
And I'll second.
Anything more to add to this before we vote? Dick or John?
Nope.
Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Very good. Great. And if you can just feel free to pass along any of those minor edits if you like. Thank you. And upcoming meetings in November. Thursday, November 9th at 4 p.m. Thursday, November 30th at 4 p.m. Our December meetings are also scheduled. They're scheduled for Thursday, December 14th at 4 p.m. and Thursday, December 21st at 4 p.m. All meetings will take place right here in this room, and we hope you can join us for those. And that's really all we had for action items for this week. Now we're at our first public comment section in the agenda. Does anybody have any comments they would like to make on anything that is either on or off the agenda? And we'll take notes. First up, Sarah, go ahead.
Okay. Because of my concerns for the children and families living on Green Hill Road, I went to the Jackson road agent and asked if he could put up signs at the beginning and the top of Green Hill stating that children were at play, and I did this in September. At that time, the road agent told me no one pays attention to signs, but I still asked for it to be done. I did not see them, so I went to the town garage to follow up on my request. As it was, the road agent was on vacation, but the three-man crew were there. They told me they were aware and that there was a note on the bulletin board. They also suggested I go to the Selectmen's office. I did come down and spoke to Julie Atwell of my concerns. She said she had heard nothing about it and would get in touch with Mr. Thompson, the crew's liaison, on Wednesday of this liaison. On Wednesday of this week, I was in town office, and Julie Hoyt told me that the signs had been put up and were attached to trees. She also said someone had been in and asked the question why they were on trees. I then went up on Green Hill and took pictures, which I have on my phone if anybody would care to look at them, and took pictures of the signs. I also asked my neighbors on Green Hill if they had noticed the signs at the bottom of the hill, and they said no. I went back to the town office and the road agent was here. We spoke again, and he told me that he was dealing with my complaints about the children at play signs and their location. I think it bears repeating. I never complained. I went to him with concern for the children. And my question is there not a standard that is used by the town or the state to put up such signs on posts so they are visible to all when driving by?
Okay, thank you. Dick, John, any kind of response that you want to make, or is there anything? Is this something that you're both becoming aware for the first time?
Yeah.
And I'd have to look at it.
All right. Yeah, well, I was aware that was on his to-do list, and that when Sarah approached the crew and he was out of town, they decided to put him up, and they ended up on trees, and there was a complaint about that, so then they came down, and I was aware of that after the fact. It's hard to say really if it's a speed limit sign and the speed limits are adequately posted, or if it's about children. I think some of the concerns are at the Hayes house, where Scott used to live.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we know the house. I mean, my son was there a lot. So at any rate,
Excuse me, may I interject?
hold on just a second, okay? Thank you. So, at any rate, the conversation we had around this is it a kids playing out in the yard that people need to be aware of, or is it just general speeding? And so, I think that there might be a conversation there to bring the chief into it. I know that he's noticed different roads at different times that there have been people maybe driving too faster on a regular basis than we would like them to. I know there was a period of time where they were increasing awareness around speed limits on Black Mountain Road for a while and posted out there on a semi-regular basis. And some of the people living along that road seem to be pleased with the results. So I think what we agreed to do at some point over the next couple of weeks between now and the next meeting is to have a conversation around these signs. Is it children at play signs? Is it speed limit signs? Is it both? And what are they going to be posted on if they are reposted? And also including the chief in that conversation as well. Go ahead.
Sorry for interrupting. Bad habit. I would like to also point out, not only is there a child at the Hayes house, there's also children, what used to be the duty home on top of the hill. Mm-hmm. And I believe someone is now in the home next door, Lloyd Johnson home, but I don't know the names of the people that own these houses now. And to me, it is a concern. Maybe children at play isn't the right sign in the sense, but these young people walk their dogs, and they're very, very good about being on the side of the road. Mm-hmm. But with the speeds in which people are coming up and down that road and in municipal vehicles as well as private business vehicles, large dump trucks, etc., if a dog got loose from one of these, be it me, if I had a dog walking it and I went to grab it, I do not feel that at the rate of speed that people are doing, that they could stop at a reasonable protection of these people that are walking that road. It is used, as I say, by all of the adults on that top of that road walking their animals. And I don't know that a speed limit sign, I still maintain and feel, I'm of the opinion, that there should be notification that there are young people out there. Because as much as we'd like to think that they would always be in the proper frame of mind, I think when you're talking about adults, you're talking about something different than you are a child. Thank you for listening.
Sure. And so that's also going to be part of the conversation. And any thoughts off the top of your head about that, Chief? I don't even know what the speed limit is on that road, or where it's posted, or if in your view it's adequately posted. Or...
Well, statutorily, the speed limit could be as high as 35 miles an hour if it's considered a roadway not in the compact portion of the town. Now, the only compact portion of our town is, the Main Street arc. So the speed limit could be as high as 35 by statute. It could be posted lower, but it has to be posted lower by a vote of the selectmen, and then it's considered prima facie lawful posted. You can't just arbitrarily pick a speed and put it up there. It has to be a vote of the select board. I think that the design features of the roadway that make it more risky than some for pedestrian traffic is that it's a narrow road, it is a windy road, and there is no shoulder, which is, I just described 90% of the roads that we have.
Right.
So when families do walk with their children or their dogs, and I think I know the family you're talking about, the new family, they have a couple of children, one I think in a stroller and one that walks. So when they're walking and getting some exercise and some fresh air, they have to, by just default, they have to do it somewhat in the travel portion of the roadway. So I think what makes that area risky is just that they can't really get off the road on the sidewalk or on a smooth shoulder. So you could have pedestrian and vehicle conflicts. I think signage works in the sense that it puts people on notice and also gives us some leverage for enforcement and the educational aspect of enforcement when people are driving that road. That's not necessarily a through road, so all the people that drive that road are pretty much driving it every day. So the educational curve on the safety aspect is going to be pretty short. The signage and then some focused enforcement would get the message through loud and clear, I'm sure.
So when Pat and I meet, can we include you on that meeting too?
Oh, of course.
Maybe even go up there, have a look around.
Of course.
And in the interim, is there a way for you to determine just what the speed limit is on that road? Are there any speed limit signs posted currently?
Well, I don't want to guess because I'll be wrong. So, I'll
In the
we'll look
interim?
into it
Sure.
and have all that information for when we get together with Pat and decide what signage, where would best be posted, and how would best be posted.
Great.
I don't know if tree versus delineated post is better. He's the expert on signage. I do know that the way that road is designed, the best places for signage would probably be on the inbound side, low down by Mrs. Jones' old place, so that it because people do rent that house with large families across from the golf course, and probably up high before they come down the pitch, because speed limits aside, when people are coming down the mountainous road, they kind of just let it go.
Sure. Okay. Great.
Probably those areas.
All right. We'll schedule a time to meet and come back and report to the board at the next meeting.
For sure.
Thank you. There were other hands. B.
On the September 14th meeting, under new business, it was for rates of pay will increase at a flat rate 3% for all town employees every year, and then that was going to be checked out if it was legal, whatever happened.
It checked out. We checked with our town attorney or MRI or both, whatever. Yeah, I mean, that's basically.
So everybody gets this every year, whether there's no accountability.
There's still a discussion, particularly at the budget hearing and at the town meeting, where it will be voted on. This just puts it in there for the discussion.
Well, that's why I want to know. Yeah.
Any other comments? Joyce?
Well, I turns out I had comments about the same thing Dee just brought up. While we were away, I try to check email, and I read the selectmen's minutes, and I was surprised that this discussion came up at that meeting, because I thought that pay raises and that type of thing were discussed at the budget hearings. And I don't recall them ever being done in advance like this, sort of set the stage for, is it generally done at this time of the year, or did I just not pay attention?
Thank you. No, it came up as a result of us looking to set the budget and understanding that this is a matter of personnel policy in other towns, so that it's not a recurring discussion every single year. And I think Dick kind of explained where we were going with that, and why we wanted folks to weigh in. So, one more time, Sarah, your hand is up.
Yes, this is about the 3% pay raise for everyone. I just got my tax bill, and I just happen to live in the precinct. So my tax bill is going up 22% being in the precinct, and then another 17.5% being in the school district. And now you're telling me that I'm, no matter what the government says, it could be 1.2. We've already opted out of that because you feel that it should be 3% every year. And that bothers me, you know. I mean, when does it stop? I'm sorry, but you have to think of the people that live here who are paying for the municipal bill. And I dare say if you took a poll, I don't think everybody gets a 3% raise every year, unless you work for the school or the town and I can also voice the opinion that that is not how it has been in the past with the municipal crew. They didn't automatically get a 3% raise.
And that's why you never heard anyone say that. But what we are saying is that that is how other towns do it to alleviate this ongoing discussion every single year, and that's why we'd like to have the town weigh in on it.
Well, okay, but you do not feel that it would be a more positive note to say that the standard is like 1.2%, so we will give our town employees the same 1.2%.
Yeah,
Something of that nature.
we're going to move on from public comments. I'm happy to have conversations with anybody for any length of time you'd like to have conversations between meetings. That's really what the between meeting times are for, and that helps us set the agenda and get guidance. So please don't hesitate. It has been for a long time, 603-986. 3411. I'd love to hear from you between meetings on that and get your thoughts and include whatever thoughts you have that are appropriate to include in the agenda. Not a problem at all. One more round here for public comments before we move on. Very good. Item number 4, building inspector. Kevin, come on up. Looks like a light week.
Yeah, you guys took care of more last time, I guess. Got a couple new building permits. One is, let's see here, 18 Lucas Lane, windows, doors, replacing a deck, or decks, I should say. Then we have another one on 3 Matter Way. It's a total roof rebuild, insulation, and new membrane up on top. Basically, the house had no installation at all. Hopefully, it has some now. And let's see what else is going on in town here. There were 2 places in town that didn't have permits.
That we're doing building projects?
Yeah, they were built, yep. And then one of the places 10 years ago, they same thing. They didn't have a permit, but they did build and increased the footprint. And there was no follow-up on it, from what I saw.
10 years ago?
Yeah, it's Sean Bergeron wrote the letter to him and everything else, and it basically ended there. So, and back then, I think it had to do with they were building in the setback for number 1. So anyway, that wasn't. So anyway, now they have this structure that was built. Now I found out from the police department that they were working on there. Went there and checked it out. Sure enough, they went up.
Where is it?
That's up on Spring Street at the very end. So they went up second floor. Well, first floor, second floor type deal. Not increasing the footprint, but they already increased the footprint 10 years ago. So, So anyway, they went up, no building permit, left a note. They finally got a building permit. But me just looking at the structure's not right. It's not structurally sound, what they built there. So I've got a telephone call to the owner to meet with them and go from there. So, and I don't know what you want to do from the past. The past is, it happened, and
Well, if my math serves me correct, 10 years ago would have been 2007, which was before the town voted to improve that. So that could be a sticky situation because we had buildings being inspected without the legislative body's approval. So that's just me reacting off the top of my head to that, which is why we're really glad that at this point in time we do have voter approval to do things.
Okay.
Like that. But Now, obviously, if it's happened, you know, since whatever 2009 or whenever that was, when that was on the ballot and got approval by the voters, 2009, 2011, I can't remember.
No, it was after
I think
9.
it was voted down in 2009 and came back in 2011.
Something like that,
Or
yeah.
something like that.
Okay.
If you do the research on that, I mean, you know, we've got teeth.
Yeah.
Once the voters weighed in on it, then it has teeth. And so if you can establish that addition up, and it probably has been since then, because it's just been recently that people have been allowed to go up and
Right.
stay within the footprint.
Mm-hmm.
So keep us posted on that,
I
if you're
will,
going to work
yeah.
with the homeowner. And-
Yeah, and hopefully get the thing structurally sound again.
Yeah.
Well, that's the part I was thinking about, is that, you know, if the structure below, if they're building up, doesn't have to be sound. I mean, obviously, if it's not
Yeah,
built
they-
properly, you need to bring, I would imagine,
Yeah, that's
bring up the
part-
code to hold
that's
up the
part-
present code.
Right, that's part of the problem. They just, what they had there was probably somewhat adequate for what they had for a roof or whatever. And then the minute they took the roof off and went up,
I mean,
not structurally sound anymore. Yeah, they
You're
didn't put
talking-
headers in basically.
You're
So-
making a good argument for having a building inspector.
So anyway, I'll follow up on that.
Okay.
And then there was another place up on Iron Mountain Road, non-conforming. The whole structure is non-conforming. It was a little cabin purchased like 2 years ago, and I went by and they had a little 3x4 section on the back. Well, they increased it to like 8x10. You know, increasing it footprint, non-conforming. And it's not even right anymore. The framing, it's all wrong. So the first issue is that they're just building, they're increasing the footprint with no building permit. So I told them to get a building permit, so I denied the building permit. So they're probably gonna go to the ZBA from there.
Okay.
So and then after that, we'll figure out what to do with the structure,
Yeah.
because it's not right.
Well, keep us posted on that.
Yeah,
I
okay.
mean, wouldn't that be the case for the first instance too? I mean, wouldn't you deny the building permit for the addition?
Well, the only.
Bring that-
No, we should give them, because they're allowed to increase the volume.
Right.
So I need a building permit so I can go in there and tell them that I have the right to say that, hey, your framing's all wrong. So go from there. Otherwise, I can't do that.
Yeah.
So, and then the next thing is I guess the data place in this weekend, they're having an auction there. And
You get a bid?
Yeah. So anyway, if the place sells, I hope the new, I mean, who knows what's going to happen there, but there's 2 oil tanks in the ground still. There are 2 1,000-gallon tanks. I think one of them still has fuel oil in it, so the other one's probably pumped out, probably still has 30 gallons in it. They've been in the ground probably, I think one was put in 1980, so you're coming up on 37 years, and the other one is, I think it was late 70s, so it's probably already 40 years in the ground. The owner right now has, he doesn't care. And what I'm thinking is that they're about 150 feet away from the Ellis River, and the depth that they're at is where the groundwater is. And if you walk over to the edge of the Ellis River, you can see water seeping out from just natural from the ledge. So I just hope the new owners, if it does sell, that they remove the tanks, do something about it. And I can draft up a letter and have you guys sign it. But if it's still under the current owner, I think at some point, the current owner should remove them. And I did talk to DES about this, and on a commercial establishment, there's no fund if there's ever a leak. So you'd have to sue the current owner, and it'd get really messy. Where if it's a residential, there is fund money to clean it up and to remove the tank sometimes too. So we can just watch and see what happens after Saturday.
Did we get a demolition permit for that building? Seems like we might have at one.
No, he did. Yes, he has a demo. He did have one, and he removed.
Did it expire?
Yes, because he removed a whole bunch of asbestos, and he still had about another $15,000 worth of asbestos to remove. And
that's
at
what's
that point, he just decided not to.
Okay. Is dealing with the tank part, can that be conditional to to a demolition?
Yeah.
Sure, it could be, yeah. It'd just be nice to get out of the ground.
Right.
Yeah.
And we should have the paper trail of both the asbestos and the fuel tanks in the ground are gonna have to be, whoever was,
Yeah,
are gonna have to be dealt with.
right.
Didn't we have somebody from the auction company contact us about the land up there, the lots that were under, that are really town-owned?
Yes, and I sent them all of those cards.
And
And
who,
I asked Jason, I don't know where they're located on the property,
right,
but I never got a response from Jason. So,
so Jason asked us? Or?
no, I asked Jason.
Oh, okay.
They're undeveloped condo sites.
Who was it that was requesting those tax
It
cards?
was a law firm in Concord, I think a law firm,
Okay,
yeah.
all right. And so I wonder if there's a way to communicate and get these folks in the loop about the oil tank concerns. And so is the demolition permit no longer valid? We need to reapply?
Yeah, correct, yeah, it would expire after a year.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I just haven't,
It's been,
yeah, yeah.
okay.
Yeah, he hasn't done anything else.
All right. It might behoove us to send out some communication before the auction to the same legal firm. I don't know. What do you think?
We want to get our hands mixed in that.
Okay.
It's not really our business, is it?
All right.
You know, it's
Well,
private, so-
That's a
The
good question.
auctioneer, we can notify the auctioneer that these are issues.
Could we?
that may
Should
be,
we?
I don't know.
That's a valid point. How involved do we want to be? I mean, if we know we have the authority to circle back to the oil tank, when someone would have to refile for a demolition permit, we could deal with it at that point. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe that's the thing, just to wait to see what happens after Saturday, then if someone buys it and develop the property, that I think they'll be.
Okay.
I think it's on Monday. Is it
Happy
on
to
Monday?
return, you know, what's that?
It's on Monday, isn't it?
No, I think it's Saturday, isn't it?
No, it's Monday.
Monday?
I think it is the
Thought
30th. Yeah. Tuesday's Halloween, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's already Monday.
All right, we'll just keep an eye on that.
Yeah,
If we hear anything about whether it did, change hands and go to a bidder or whatever, we'll
Yep.
deal with it then.
okay.
All right, thanks. Anything else?
No, I think that's it.
Okay, great.
That's a lot. All right, thank you.
Thanks, Kevin.
Sure.
The add-on, could I have the name of that on Green Hill Road?
It's on Iron Mountain Road.
Iron Mountain Road.
Dave Madison, I believe.
Thank you.
I think that's the name.
All right. Thanks, Kevin.
All right. Thanks.
Right. Building inspector done. New business. So the tax rate information, was there some sort of an update on neighbor care?
Yeah, Tom is here to speak.
There he is.
That's him.
Tom, update us on the neighbor care initiative. Come on up and have a seat.
I can't hide. We thought it would be helpful to sort of update you on what we've been doing, how it's grown. This whole thing started at one of our safety meetings where we were trying to come up with a list of people who were potentially in an emergent situation, shut-ins, that type of thing. Carl had kept an informal list, and we wanted to have an effort to make it a little bit more formal. In other words, have it in writing somewhere so that Chief Purley, if needed, could go around and check in on people. That grew into creating a form for people to sign up to be put on that list with emergency contacts and that kind of stuff. At about the same time, two other things happened. One was I received an email from Bureau of Elderly Affairs that basically said they weren't going to be funding any services anymore in the state other than going in and declaring if it needed a person's house unfit, taking them out of the house, selling the house, putting them in a nursing home. And I saw that happen in one case, and it left sort of a bad taste in my mouth because there's there's all kinds of statistics to prove that the longer that people stay in their own house, the better they do.
Mhm.
Also, at about that time, Emily Benson started working at the Carroll County Coalition for Public Health as sort of a public health coordinator type thing. So we brought her in on this, and she's got a lot of energy. And this started expanding. If you go to the town's website, there's a whole section for it now. I'm doing this on my phone because I don't do computers anymore. We have all kinds of stuff on there now. We have a form, for instance, if we were responding to a house with the ambulance, there's a whole series of questions that we ask about the medications they're on, the allergies they have, previous medical histories, primary care doctors, stuff like that. There's a form that people can fill out with all that information ahead of time and keep it so that in case of an emergency, we can give it to them. Very handy. I had a fellow a couple of weeks ago who has something of a dementia issue, and I asked him how old he was. He said 900 and some years old. All the stuff was all written down. His contact information was all there. The other reason we're doing this is someone who lives here in Jackson has a child or something that lives down in New Jersey or somewhere, and we're trying to give them some sort of help pointing them towards resources in the area. So we've added all kinds of things. The numbering sign, the 911 sign ordinance is there. There's a form to order the signs from the Bartlett Fire, those little red and green signs. That's there. We've put other resources like 211, which is an access number for health service. Carroll County Community Resource Directory, Service Link is on there. The Gibson Center stuff's on there. Visiting nurse, home care, and hospice stuff is on there. There's a thing now called REAP, which is Referral Education Assistance and Prevention Program from Northern Human Services. That stuff's on there. With the help of Chief Carroll, we just put a connection to the Project Good Morning thing, which is out of Conway, where they call in and check with people. And we've also put Kevin's name on there in case someone needs to call up and get, like, for instance, a list of 3 or 4 contractors who could put handrails, guardrails, ramps, and that kind of stuff on. And the latest thing we've been doing is, there's also a ton of other resources which you can see. The latest thing we've been doing is Marianne Jackson, who's a retired OBGYN. She jokes that she spent most of her life bringing people into the world. Now she's working on the other end of the demographic. She's working with Memorial Hospital
Job security.
to get advanced directives and post forms where necessary out there, and really increasing people's awareness on that. We have a pretty large and growing geriatric population in Jackson. It's like over 60-70% of our population is over 60-65. So that's where we are.
So do you have physical files that you're keeping on people, or electronic files?
It's not being kept really electronically, and if it is physical, it is very well guarded only by the chief.
Okay.
We are very careful about people's privacy, and we are also trying to be very respectful about people's desire to be a part of this or not to be part of this. And any of that information is we've had people try to come in from the outside to get a hold of it and kind of stomp on them a little bit. Actually, Consumer Affairs, which is, I guess, a national magazine, found out about it somewhere, and they wanted to put their information on there. And we're trying to keep this local, trying to keep it simple. But once again, the desire to protect people's privacy and to respect their. Sound right?
Oh, yeah. You know, as far as the database goes on elders in need of services, I don't believe there is a comprehensive database that the police department has currently. They may have been one, but there is not one now. What we do as far as information collecting is when we find a senior in need, we will input contact information into our master name index, which is our database in the computer system, which is not interlinked with anything else, so it's highly secure. The key the key and the challenge with elder care from a public safety standpoint is that outreach to get them to solicit the help. So what's the dog whistle that points you in the direction of the elder that needs regular to moderately regular checkup and accountability? And they don't often access the internet, so it's tough to have a campaign of signing something up online if they don't even have a computer. The Project Good Morning that Tom speaks of, which is both administered by the Conway Police Department and the Carroll County Sheriff's Department, we use the Sheriff's Department as our dispatch center, but they have an identical program to Conway's. Is really the tip of the spear for us. It's kind of our icon to know who needs help, because if the person doesn't call into the program, dispatch sends a message to us to go check on them, and we do that regularly, very regularly with some. Now, I think a more comprehensive plan and program needs to be in place so that when we find someone in need of services, we can, as limited as the services may be, we can still connect them, or also connect to their family if they live abroad or from away, so that they can help make informed decisions about their independence and about their care, because we can. And along with that, from the police department standpoint, we're also vigilant towards elder abuse, which can happen in a number of fashions, both physical and more commonly financial. So, that really a comprehensive response to the needs of the older population is not only prudent, but it's going to be demanded in the next 10 years because of the aging population of not just the community, but the entire state and our visitors. Great topic of conversation and moving in the right direction, but I think it does need to be more comprehensive than it is, and we're working towards that.
Yeah, and any list that we've generated, Julie, the two Julies and Julie as well, has been really good about keeping a lid on it. It's not generally available, if you would. So that's pretty much where we are. We just thought it's kind of grown a little bit more than initially with all this other stuff. We just thought it'd be prudent to let you know.
What percentage do you think have signed up? I mean, it's hard to obviously estimate, but anybody been unwilling? Maybe. How about I rephrase that?
A dozen, maybe.
Maybe a dozen.
Yeah, it's very handy to find the sheet. From my standpoint, responding to someone's house, in an emergency, in a medical emergency, it's really nice to have. It's all right there.
Right.
You don't have to ask all the questions.
And there are sometimes multiple occurrences, so you have to ask the same questions.
Exactly. And what's the most important part about that is children, for instance, that are often in another state. How do we contact them?
Right.
It's like pulling straws sometimes to try to figure it out. So if that was our goal, was to try to not only take care to help people out who are here, but if they have children or something out of state.
Any other questions?
Yep, good.
Dick? I've got some hands up out, questions for Tom or the board on the neighbor care update.
Sure.
Sarah?
Yes, you're talking about people that might have medical conditions. Is that, and you're talking about Mary Ann Jackson. Is it feasible to say on a doctor's appointment that this paperwork, if would help, could be done at a doctor's appointment to coordinate it with the doctors?
We're working on that, yeah.
So that, that information would be
Angus,
available.
talking to Angus Badger, talking to Gretchen Lockhart, Mary Ann, did a thing at the church a week or two ago about advanced directives. So the hospital is kind of pushing that along a little bit. We're also I'm working with state people, whereas if we get an advance directive put in place that we don't know about, there's some mechanism that we get alerted at the ambulance. Because the last thing you want to do is to go into someone's house at 2 o'clock in the morning and do something that's against their wishes.
Correct, and I know that.
And you've got to be very respectful of people's individuality in that process.
I know that people that I've worked for that have been elderly, they either have it, some of them have the machines that push for someone to come, Life Alert or whatever,
Right,
but
right.
also too, the standard was, I thought, and it may have even come from the Jackson Valley ambulance, was a list of meds. It was either in the refrigerator, on the refrigerator, or
Right,
something.
that's one of the forms that's on here. And that not only includes meds, but allergies to meds, because you don't want to give somebody a medication they're allergic to.
Nancy, was your hand up?
Yeah, I just had a quick add-on. I know this went out via e-news, but what about sending it out again and listing the amenities and encouraging neighbors to get family that they know of, or
There's also
neighbors that
some
might
little
not
cards.
have?
We've got some little index cards made up, which help.
Just
people
encouraging them to
too.
sign up for e-news too.
We talked about walking the town once and sort of passing this stuff out.
Well, whether it's 12 families or 500, setting up a system like this is a lot of work.
Yep.
And I just want to recognize that.
It's been a lot of work, but it's just effort. It doesn't cost anything.
Right,
It's
but
just effort. And Emily has been a big help. I've given it, and the
Good.
two Julies have been very supportive,
Good.
as Chief Burley.
excellent.
Andy even came and sat in on one of our meetings and helped us out.
Yeah, but I used to know them.
Well,
Say what?
I knew them all.
and as you,
And that's the kind of situation, it's the list has to sort of, the list, if you keep a list, has to be sort of constantly
Morphing.
yeah.
groomed and maintained.
Well, not just the system set up, but going out and with awareness initiatives and reaching out to folks at the church and all that. Time is money. I just want to let you know, I think certainly as a board, we appreciate the efforts that have gone into it. One more hand up before we move on. Joyce, you want to comment?
Tom, isn't the census being taken this year? In any way, if it
It's
is.
helpful. I mean,
Couldn't they
statistically, it's helpful.
hand out something to people as they go to take?
It's
the
not a
census?
door-to-door census. We're looking
it's
at our
not.
electronic records,
Okay.
right? That won't be happening this year, but
Okay.
that would be a nice thing to remember when we do have the federal employees go to door to door. I don't know what we would get out
I
of
guess it
that,
wasn't
but
10 years
who
ago
knows?
that they did.
Right.
Yeah.
But
Cost George Washington's gift to the Constitution.
final thoughts, Tom?
Oh, that's all.
That's all.
So, like I said, we just hope we don't take it because it's growing, and also because it's, the consumer affairs thing kind of made me go, oh.
Well, and that's nice to have a screening
Yeah.
system in place so that we don't end up going.
Thank you very
overboard
much.
with that. Thanks, Tom. Next up, tax rate information. That's been determined. I know that the tax rate for the municipal, county, local, state, water precincts has been, this went out, Julie, to e-news, right? Okay, great. And we also have an addendum to add to the minutes. Did you get one of these?
I'm going to email.
Okay, great, excellent, and that's just all FYI. We have cemetery lot
Can I
agreements.
just say something?
Yes.
Tax rate. Everybody that's here that's obviously concerned enough to come to a meeting, please attend the school meeting. That's where the money's going. And, we're trying really hard to hold on to our tax rate, and keep it reasonable. And I would just like to see more people, anybody that's going to have kids in the school to go to the meeting and say, what's going on? So that's my 2
And
cents.
water as well.
I was going to say the water, yes.
Dick, John,
No, just
something else to add?
Julie's going to say that the water precinct as well, that was a huge increase. this
Water
year.
precinct. If you're concerned about your state taxes, you've got representatives available for that. If you're concerned about your county taxes, you also have representatives available for you to approach. And if you don't know who that is or what their contact information is, we are happy to provide that to you because we have all that contact information in our office. If you want to contact the office at some point because you don't know who to connect with regarding some of these other tax credits, feel free to get a hold of us. Penny, was your hand up?
Yeah, just in regards to the school meetings, it's the budget meetings are happening right now, the next couple months, and these are the ones that are important to go to. If you wait until the budget time on voting day, oftentimes it's just too late.
Right.
Okay.
This is the time, and they are considering budgeting, restructuring, and creating a full-day preschool in town.
Okay. And I'm sure those budget hearings are posted in the usual spots, somewhere
Yeah,
the
and
dates
just the
and
regular
times.
school board meetings they're talking
Yeah.
about, yeah.
And those are on Mondays typically. Is that once a month?
No.
Every other week? What do you do?
The third Monday.
Third Monday, 6 o'clock?
Yeah.
Okay, put it on your calendars. Sarah, was your hand up before we move on to
That
tax
answered the
rates?
question, third Monday.
Oh, okay, great.
Do check, it's worth a phone call, because sometimes the meetings get changed, it doesn't get changed on the website, and just a few people are notified, doesn't go out on e-news, so it's always worth a call to
And there,
confirm.
we post the agendas on the website too, the school board agendas and the meeting minutes, so.
Yeah, and, it's just whether the tax rate is right up your alley and you're fully supportive, or you've got ideas and suggestions to make. I think it's always great to be involved. I mean, we love you here, and I'm sure they would love you too. So please feel free to get involved and provide them with input. It's always helpful to get it. Final thoughts? Kevin, your hand is up, or you're just laughing at a joke over there? Okay, no, you're allowed. We'll move on then. We have some cemetery lot agreements
It's
here.
just a transfer, no money exchange, just.
Okay, all right. So then do we have to make a motion to approve in second if it's just a transfer?
Doesn't hurt, I suppose.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we've got two of them here. They're connected, lots 699A and B, in consideration of the sum of not applicable, paid by the purchaser, the lots recorded in the records of the town, now standing in the name of Gene Porath, said lots being number 699B, and then for James Porath, lot 699A on the map, the village cemetery. So this is just a record transfer only, so I'll entertain a motion to approve these two cemetery lot agreement record transfers.
So moved.
Very good. Either one of you have anything more to add to this?
Nope.
In that case, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Yep.
All right, very good. I'll let you start, John.
I'll smear everybody else's ink, that's why.
Oh, sure.
The next one is behind you.
Oh. Never find it back. All right. And I got one here, two. Julie's watching me like a hawk right now. I know she is. Do this right.
Field up.
Very good. Thank you very much. Put back on that. Next up, new business. Trustees of the trust funds. We have a withdrawal request, and I will read it and ask for a motion to approve the withdrawal request. The Board of Selectmen are requesting the following withdrawals from the trust funds as indicated below. $2,864.50 from the Bridge Repair Expendable Trust Fund 0034 to Civil Solutions. They have 3 invoices dated July 25th, September 1st, October 12th, 2017, and these are invoices 982, 989, and 995. $19,634.92 from the Road Reconstruction Capital Reserve Fund 0064 to Alvin J. Coleman and Son, Inc., dated October 16th, 2017, invoice 41870. $201 from the Dry Hydrant Expendable Trust Fund 0049 to L.A. Drew, dated September 29th, 2017, invoice 14080. $125.28 from the Dry Hydrant Expendable Trust Fund 0049. Smithfield Plumbing and Heating Supply dated September 14th, 2017, and that is invoice C065549, and $30,525.60 from the State Aid Reconstruction Expendable Trust Fund 0058. See attached. That goes to Pike Industries, and that's dated August 21st, 2017. Invoice 36410.
Get that?
I will entertain a motion to approve the spending requests sent to us by the trustees of the trust funds.
Make that motion.
I'll second.
Very good. Questions? Either one of you have any questions about any of
Can you
these?
just read it again?
withdrawals? Yeah, come up for air first. Hank, can you play that back? Please.
I'm just kidding.
All right. Did one of you
We,
make a motion?
yeah, we did.
And you seconded?
Mm-hmm.
No questions.
No question.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, very good.
That's part of it.
This is part of it, that's just a check. Okay, there's the intent to cut. Where did I lose my paper clip? Are those clipped together?
They were.
They went flying. Oh, well,
Just put it in the folder.
yeah, let them do it. That's why they get the big bucks. Thank you. And just a notice of intent to cut here for map V8, lot 12A, Switchback Road, 11.2 acre lot. And that is under the name of Paul and Merrill Weitzel. Their permanent year-round address is 199 Temple Street, Newton, Mass. And that is what we have an intent to cut for here. Either one of you have any questions about this before I ask for a motion?
Who's the logger?
Who is the logger? There is one. And
Bottom right.
What's that?
Bottom right.
Oh, there it is, Garland number. Anything else? Okay, well, entertain a motion to approve the intent to cut.
Make that motion.
I'll second.
Either one of you have any other comments?
Nope.
I will call for the vote. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Thank you. Here we go.
Bottom. Any one of those spaces there.
Oh, all of them.
Yeah. Pick a space.
Okay. And moving on to old business then?
You've got,
One more
yeah.
thing.
Nope.
Is that?
Inspection of
There wasn't
building.
any paperwork, is there?
No.
Inspection of public buildings.
Oh,
Yeah.
you've got the paperwork, okay, go ahead, Dick.
What's come out is we don't have in place the wording for the inspection of commercial buildings in town. And I did a little research, and I'm not going to read the whole thing. Anybody who's interested, I can give you this. Public Safety and Welfare, Chapter 155. And it just states what you should have in place for, schoolhouses, public buildings, places of assembly, tenement houses, hotels, factories. Okay, and because we don't have anything in place from a town meeting, in the absence of such bylaws, the selectmen shall make regulations for the purposes named in the preceding section. So what I took from that was, in the absence of the selectmen shall make regulations. So we can make a town regulation that says, once a year, commercial buildings will be inspected for life safety, fire safety. So I would just like, my compadres agree with me, I would like to pursue that and get that wording in place as a regulation. And then we can go to town meeting if we want to tweak it, or if there are other issues with it, we can vote on it as a town. But we checked with the local government center, and they concur that the wording says that we shall make these regulations as selectmen. That's it.
Shall means must. A lot of times.
Shall.
Yes.
Yes, you shall.
Yes, you shall.
All right.
Do you need help with that?
Now, I'm going to work with Jay and, just,
It looks like a big project, but, reach out to whoever you need to, and
I think going to the other towns that have done this, get their wordings, sit down, sift through it, and then bring it to us.
yeah,
And, I'll try to get it in so you can read it ahead of time.
Yep.
And,
great. And I'm sure Jill and Julie, if you need to utilize them to contact other
she's
towns.
going to do all the work.
Yeah.
We're going to do all the work.
That's why I wanted to just kind of.
I admit that.
Okay, very good. Well, thank you
Just
for
a-
taking that on. John?
There's obviously you have to consider the cost factor and doing those inspections and how many you got to do a year, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
No, that's what I want to sit with Jay and say, what's practical?
Right. Once a year, twice, once every 2 years, maybe. Or,
Yeah, whatever it turns out to be.
cool.
I just want to get the words in place so that nobody can say, oh, you're picking on me.
Okay. Excellent. Was there a hand? Yes, I'm sorry.
I just have a quick question. I may have missed the beginning, but is this just, it's a visual walkthrough? It's not involving water testing or pressure testing, the fire suppression system?
Well, I think any place with a sprinkler system would have to establish, water pressure availability. The parameters for fire safety are all written down. We don't make them up.
Right.
So it's all there. And that's why I want to talk with Jay and say, what is going to be practical
For commercial.
for commercial.
And that will be a big project. Kevin?
I would just comment on it. And basically, it's most of the places are inspected because they require a permit of assembly. So if you have 100 people or more, like a restaurant, a bar, or whatever, the place gets inspected once a year, sometimes twice a year. It's basically the hotels that don't have a permit of assembly, they don't get inspected. So it's kind of a false sense of security where a lot of transient people, which are just, vacationers and stuff, think that the place is inspected, for life and safety. Basically, smoke detectors, carbon monoxide detectors, and make sure exits aren't blocked, stuff like that, fire extinguishers, simple stuff, life and safety. And right now, that's not being done in town. And there's only 2 or 3 hotels that aren't being inspected. So that would be the minimum. And that's basically what it is.
Great, thanks for putting that in perspective. Was your hand up, B? No.
Does the town adopted the state building code? Have you checked that? Is any of that come under it?
Whether inspections come under the building
Yeah,
code.
in the state building code, which the town adopted, does any of that come under it? That's what I...
We haven't found it, not for, I think maybe for life safety, but that would be, what we don't have in place is the idea of a yearly or an annual inspection. When they have a building permit, yes, we can go right in and we're inspecting new construction or remodeling for life safety, but we don't have that ongoing oversight year to year. So that's what I think the plan is.
Yeah, preventative. Good one. So that's an ongoing project. One more hand, yeah?
My family owns an inn here, a hotel in Jackson, and I just wanted to say that we've lived here for 15 years, and yeah, I've noticed a little bit of a change in the fire inspections. They used to be much more overreaching, but now I think they're becoming more and more fair with the inspections of the hotels, more reasonable, and I looked into that matter that I spoke about before with the CO detectors, and it does say that all of the units need a CO detector now. They changed the law, I believe, in 2015 or 16. So we will be replacing all the smoke detectors with also CO detectors. And I think that's reasonable. I think that's fair. The man, I believe his name is Jay, at the fire department who did the inspection, what he was showing me was not the correct statute. And that's where the confusion came up, is he showed me something that was not saying every unit. But I did look up online and I did find the correct statute that does say every unit needs to have a CO detector along with a smoke detector, hardwired.
Any other thoughts on this one before we move on? Okay. We've got posting of the budget on old business, and this was about, this is in regards to George Howard coming in and asking us to consider posting the budget last year, and I'm not sure if there was confusion afterwards. That was the conversation we had in a meeting with George. He wanted to see the operating budget posted currently on the website and the e-news and the board out here, and we said, well, it seems like posting a budget quarterly on the board makes the most sense, and he asked us at the last meeting to revisit that, I think, and so we just wanted to clarify what had happened in the time of that. It was at the February 23rd meeting, he submitted a letter to us, asked us to provide budget information at a monthly scheduled public meeting, and Dick said the information is available to whoever requests it, doesn't mind posting at the town hall, putting it on e-news. John thought it would be too tedious to cover on a continuous monthly cycle. Bob didn't want to diminish the board's efficiency by adding too many layers. And then on March 9th, under old business, we agreed that posting the operating budget would be posted here and on the website, but not on the news, and it would generally be a quarterly posting. So George asked us to reconsider that. I know he couldn't be at this meeting for some reason, but is this something that either one of you want to take up now, table to a later date, let George know when we are going to be addressing it and invite him to the meeting, or is there anything that you think you want to reconsider the decisions we've made, or we've been asked to rethink it, and so that's why I brought it up.
Rethink it, thought it, and I think we should wait for George to be here. I find it easier to have a one-on-one.
Okay.
Excuse me.
Do you want me to put it on the next meeting's
Put it on the
agenda,
next,
contingent on reaching out to George and inviting him so he can be here?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, great. That sounds like a great idea. Then we've got transfer station updates, and I know, Dick, you put this packet together. You want to go through it and kind of get John and I up to speed on where we're at with some of this?
I didn't. My leaders put it together.
Leaders, some fearless leaders. Okay.
Fearless leaders. But I will, okay, the first was about the metals pile. Roger Labby, who's been, was under contract.
He still is.
He is, it's been renewed. Okay, we found that. Way to go.
The contract expires March 30th.
Of 18.
Yeah.
So he's under contract to salvage, copper and brass metals. I don't think he does there's another contractor that just comes in, takes the metal out of it.
Right.
So they've been trying to make it workable there, and Roger was going to sue the towns because they were piling up his metal. Anyway, I think that at our next transfer station meeting of the committee, that we should deal with that, because I don't want a contractor in there that's going to think about suing us because we're trying to make this a workable situation up there.
Mm-hmm.
It really grated on me. I think he was mistaken in thinking that something was being done to him. So, let's bring him in and we'll have the meeting, but, I
Okay.
don't want to hear about getting sued. The tires have not been dealt with since July of 2015. Again, I think we should move ahead with some tire removal because there's a limit on how many tires you can store.
Right.
And I'd like to get us down below that threshold.
Any idea how many tires are up there?
A lot.
So
The state will allow 1,000 to 1,500
you think we're
tires,
over? Who knows?
and who knows how much we have. And there's parameters on how you can stockpile them, and 50 tires. Anyway,
Yep.
so we should, at our next meeting, get that hammered out. To lack of personnel. Oh, they're having trouble at the dump store. People are abusing it. They're putting stuff by the dump store that they don't want to pay to dump. So, if this goes on, close the dump store. I mean, we do it as a service, not something that the towns are making any money on. It's nice to recycle usable stuff. A lot of kids' toys get recycled. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
But if it gets abused and we just don't have the manpower to put somebody up there to guard the dump store, I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Folks, they're putting, all ratty carpets up there, and broken furniture and electronics. So anyway.
Well, I think that Don's been doing a great job of noticing some of these things and kind of thinking through solutions that would make sense. So.
Don has become a great supervisor. He's fallen into the role, and he realizes that it takes probably some extra work, but I think he's doing a good job.
So we meet periodically. Is this all kind of warrant us scheduling a meeting?
Yeah.
There are actually 3 dates out there that both Dick and John have said they're available for any of them when you just need your...
Are they Mondays?
No.
No, one is, I don't know if I remember them off the top of my head.
I think there were Tuesdays and Thursdays.
One is Halloween.
Was it 30?
And I think we should tie in an ambulance meeting at the same time.
Right, which would be good,
Yeah. Okay.
It's so hard to get everybody together.
Yeah.
And one of the things that we should do is work out the process for the fees that we charge people. I think the last chunk of money that came into our office was like $3,000. I think that's too much money for them to keep up there for a month at a time. There is a numbered invoice system, and I think that we should have every numbered invoice coming into us. If it's voided, we bring in the voided invoice. but I want to see, or I would like to see, some continuity to this whole thing with the money. And I think the money should come in once a week. I don't think it's right to have that. I can't even imagine, if our share was $3,000, how much Bartlett, because they're a bigger town, so they probably have more tipping fees. How much money is floating around out there? I haven't seen anything really secure. A little lockbox is okay.
Well, we need to reconcile the receipts too. It's as simple as that. And we had a brief conversation before the meeting started, and I think that maybe even offering a solution of having Julie go up there Monday when they're open, and we've got both staff here to grab the stuff from them. And maybe it would be a great idea for kind of strengthening some communication ties between our office and their gang up there. And so if you guys think that's a good idea, we can try that out too. I think, I totally agree. I think weekly, we don't like the dates, the pickup dates that were just dropped off. We went from September 9th to October 15th. Without those receipts being followed in. And that's just, like you said, that's too long to go between those receipts being dropped off, and it's actually been longer in the past, I'm told. So we could start that any Monday you want. And
John, did you want to communicate that to Don up there?
I'm sorry, I couldn't
Do you
hear.
want to communicate that to Don? That will be Julie and I. One of us can zip up there and get them. But
On Mondays?
yeah.
Yeah.
Do we want to talk to him also about doing a spreadsheet like John actually did?
Yeah. If you guys, we can also show him what they did in the past for some sort of reconciliation and see if he's, willing to hand that with the receipts.
great. And so I can't find those dates that were proposed, but maybe I can get those from you after the
I can
meeting.
send it to you tomorrow.
Get that done. So excellent. I think in general too, there's a concern that there should be better, more robust and regular communication between the two boards regarding the transfer station with all the
I know John.
projects going on.
I know John Hebert is pretty involved with them, so I can talk with him and see if I can get.
Yeah, you're the liaison, right? If there could be a established regularly weekly communication or something that then gets passed along in board meetings to Dick and I think that would be a great way to kind of shore that up a little bit. In fact, maybe it's a standing agenda item under old business where you just give us an update, and that'll prompt you to make sure you have a conversation with John between meetings.
Sure
And, and I know that that's not the quorum that votes and makes decisions, but that's probably the group that's most involved and can work with Dawn and Julie and Brenda to make recommendations that we go ahead and formally support. I think that'd be a great way to shore that up. What do you think?
Sounds good.
Okay, great. Excellent. That's it for old business. Down to agenda item 7, another public comment section. Anybody?
The last time I was here, I inquired about the proper procedure for dumping and recycling. I had mentioned that my father was told that it's mandatory to recycle, but we were struggling with it because of the quantity of trash versus him doing it himself and having a disability. So I just wanted to inquire about.
What are you doing all that talk?
And what was the status update on that?
You wanted to know what the policies and protocols are for recycling?
Yeah, I mean, he was told that it was mandatory, and I just wanted to clarify with you.
Yeah, it's been mandatory for a number of years now, and of course that's obviously been a point of conversation lately. But I'm sure we've got that somewhere, and we can get you a copy of it so you've got it for your records.
Okay, I would appreciate it.
Any other public comments? Hearing none.
I'll make that motion.
Motion to go
Non-public.
into non-public.